Only 4 races remain in NASCAR's Busch Grand National North Series. 4 drivers are within 88 points of the top spot. There's no margin for error as the season heads down the stretch. Matt Kovaluk in car 40 has 3 wins. Ryan Moore is the young gun returning to the track where he got his start. The top 2, Mike Stefanik and Andy Santerre, are teammates. The stage is set for high drama at Maine's Oxford Plains Speedway. This is the place where the Busch Grand National North Series got its start. Oxford Plains Speedway in Oxford, Maine. And after a 13-year absence, tonight it returns. It's the Fisher Snow Plows 150 from the Oxford Plains Speedway. And a very pleasant good evening, everybody. Mike Hogwood here along with Dan Pardis. Dan, this 3/8 mile track is tough. It takes a lot of finesse. It takes a lot of patience. And I'm not sure all these guys have got it tonight.
Mike, you're exactly right. As a race car driver, this track's about being smooth. Not only on the steering wheel, but the gas pedal and the brake pedals. You roll down in the corner and you steer the car down in the corner, easy off the gas. You do not come all the way out of the gas pedal here. Easy on the brake, set the nose, back in the throttle. You have to do that lap after lap and be consistent here at Oxford Plains to be in victory lane.
Great points battle going on in this series. Andy Santerre comes into this race with a 15-point lead over Mike Stefanik. Both of those guys are starting in the middle of the pack. They've got a tough road ahead of them.
Oh, you're exactly right, but these guys are veterans. They've been around a long time. Mike Stefanik, Andy, Brad Layton, they're starting out of the top 10 here today, but they know they've got a picture of the big picture. They've been there before. They have to be patient. They have to be smooth. They know what it takes to be in victory lane, so keep an eye out for them guys tonight because I think they're going to charge towards the front.
All right, well, we'll get things going. We'll have our starting grid and the green flag for you here from Oxford Plains Speedway in Oxford, Maine. Coming up next here on Speed. Dick McCabe, the Grand National Series champion 2 times, is our Grand Marshal here tonight.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Well, as we mentioned, the engines are fired down on the pit lane. They'll begin their warm-up laps here in just a moment, and as they get ready for that, let's take a look now at the starting lineup tonight of the Fisher Snow Plows 150. And the front row, a little bit of a surprise. We heard from Mike Johnson a moment ago looking for his first win of the season. Brian Hoare in a Dodge. So a Dodge and a Ford on the front row. And then there's that wily old veteran, Dave Dion. And how about Kelly Moore? 2 guys who have had a lot of laps on this track.
A lot of experience between them 2 guys, that's for sure. They both know how to get around here, and they both know what it takes to win races.
Matt Kovaluk's had a great season. How about Sean Case? He's a rookie, and he has impressed so many people this year.
Super run for Sean. I mean, he just got to keep his head on. He's got to follow some of them cagey veterans and be there at the end. That's the key for him tonight.
Ryan Moore won a track championship here when he was just getting his racing career started, and he is headed for great things. Mike Olson, who is trying to climb up in the points, he's in the top 5 of the standings, also on row 4. Dale Shaw, former champion in this series, on row 5. And it's our first time this season to see Bill Penfold. Good to see him here tonight.
Glad to see him back. 10th place starting position, good start for him. He needs to get down there on the bottom, I know that.
There's your points leader on row 6, Andy Santerre. That's a lot farther back than he wants to start this race.
Unfortunately, tough start for Andy, but Andy says, you know, sometimes I really don't qualify well, but I know what it takes to get there at the end. Again, he's another one that said we've left a lot of adjustments in the car to be there.
And he's got some company right behind him, Stefanik and Brad Layton.
Man, there's some good cars here, guys. If you look at that, 3 cagey veterans back there out of the top 10. So these guys need to get down on the bottom of this racetrack and be careful and work their way through traffic.
Row 8's a couple of rookies. Anthony DeMonte and Joe Massessa are there. On row 9, Jeff Anton and Kip Stockwell, who's a veteran of this series. Ryan Seaman, the Rookie of the Year in this series a year ago. And John Salemi's having a pretty good season on row 10. Row 11, Blaine Chase and Scott Booley out of Connecticut. And row 12, making up the 24 cars in this field, Rob Humphreys and Eddie McDonald, who did not take a qualifying time.
No, he did not. He had a motor problem. He was really good in practice. Unfortunately, they blew a motor, had to change the motor, did not get it done enough in time, so he had to start from the rear of the pack. So he'll worm his way up towards the front for the night's over, I'm sure.
One guy having a great season, and you see him there in car 40, is 35-year-old Matt Kovaluk out of Connecticut. He has won 3 times this year, 7 career wins. But those 3 wins lead the series. But he's had a couple of tough finishes at New Hampshire in the second race at Stafford, and that's got him 49 points behind Santerre and in third place in the points. He wants another strong run tonight. Except for those 2 bad races, he's been in the top 3 every race this year.
Matt's been there. You're exactly right. He's had a little bit of bad luck, a little monkey on his shoulder, but hopefully he's gotten rid of that.
Are you ready to go racing?
I'm ready to rock.
All right, the Fisher Snow Plows 150 is underway as Mike Johnson leads him to the green.
Still there, inside.
Great start for Johnson. Dave Dion right behind him. Then it's Brian Hoare and Kovaluk. That's your top 4.
Bottom of the racetrack, guys. Again, you need to get down on the bottom, get settled in, get that rhythm, because this is such a momentum racetrack. It's important to get to the bottom and get the rhythm.
That was first 2 laps. An interesting battle for 5th. That was between Ryan Hoare and his dad, Kelly. Ryan got the spot. Now Kovaluk wants 3rd place.
Yep, they both racing together. Hey, these are 2 tough competitors, and believe me, neither one of them will give for the other.
Well, Matt Kovaluk's showing some strength early, and Ryan Moore now into 4th as Dion and Mike Johnson continue to lead the field here early.
So important, again, to get to the bottom of the racetrack. We start the tire pressures down low. It takes some 5 to 10 laps to get some heat in these tires, get them tire pressures back up, get the car stable, because you're leaning on the right front tire all the way around this racetrack. It's important to get heat in these tires, and the right rear also, but you're really laying on the right front because you never really do straighten out around this racetrack.
Dan, we were talking to a lot of the guys today about that outside groove, and as we see Dave Dion coming on the inside and battling Johnson for the lead, you've got to wonder if that outside groove will come in at all tonight. And Dave Dion now puts that 29 car out front.
Well, Johnson did the right thing. He knows it's too early to race on the outside of the racetrack. He pulled out of the gas and let Dion by.
One car has gone off the track. That is Ryan Seaman. No yellow flag out yet. No caution.
Back underway on the front straightaway, but he is back underway. That's good. No caution.
Dave Dion, 61 years young, leading this race. Talked to Dave earlier today. You know, the Oxford 250 is one of the big races every year on this racetrack. He's won that event 3 times. He says getting around this racetrack is all about momentum. The harder you try, sometimes maybe the slower you go. But if you get into a rhythm and have the right rhythm, you can really get around here in a hurry.
Rhythm is exactly right. And there's no better place to be but up front, because when you're up front, you have no people around you. You have nobody, back up on their bumper. It's so easy to get in that rhythm and get that momentum going. And Mike, the last guy to win this race in the NASCAR Busch North Series was who? Dave Dion here in 1992. Dave was the last time we were here with the Busch North car. He won the race here. And guess what? He was in that very race car in 1992. So that's saying quite a bit.
He built that car in 1990, Dave Dion did. Matter of fact, he won his first North Series race right here at this racetrack. He was fast in practice. He was the fastest car in the second practice session today and qualified really strong. And Dion about to put a couple of cars a lap down in just a few moments as we've seen Scott Booley come down on pit road. Rob Humphreys is there now.
We'll be back from the Oxford Plains Speedway with more NASCAR Grand National North Series racing in just a moment.
See Mike Johnson setting the pace. Mike's a savvy racer. He knows what he needs to do. You can't overdrive the race car and leave the pack here sometimes, and I'd say Dave Dion is pretty savvy. He knows what he has to do. He knows not to overdrive the race car and overheat them tires. Use the tires up, because you got to go 150 laps here. You have to be at the end, so Dave has to be so careful not to overdrive that race car.
Back the battle for 5th place. Right now, Brian Hoare has that spot in the 45, and then right behind him, it's actually the battle for 6th. It is Kelly Moore and Dale Shaw in the 15, and Mike Olson right behind them in the 61.
Kelly Moore not wanting to be on the outside. That outside line may come in, but it's going to be some 100 laps. The reason why the outside line will come in is because we need to get rubber down on the racetrack. Not a whole lot of guys running on the outside of the racetrack. If nobody runs out there, we do not get any rubber down on the outside of the racetrack, so it never gets any better. So it's unfortunate that he got hung on the outside there, but he's back in line now, and he's back where he wants to be.
2 cars that have not been able to move up through the field at all are Mike Stefanik and Andy Santerre. They are still cut behind Brian Chu and Bill Penfold way back in the pack.
See Dave Dion wiggling his way through the field. Again, he has to be so careful on the outside to work through this traffic, but as the race goes on, we'll go, oh, man, little contact there.
Trying to go by Lane Chase, and Chase almost got into Dion there.
Wow.
Chasing that 2-car. As you see Dave Dion now getting ready to put Joe Massessa a lap down in that 09, but Lane Chase almost created disaster for Dion. There's Santerre and Stefanik behind Brian Chu in that 99.
Andy Santerre, again, Stefanik setting the pace. They need to be careful, running the bottom of the racetrack, but they do not want to let the leaders get too far away. If this goes green for a long time, there is danger of being lapped around this 3/8 mile track, so they have to get on the gas, stay with the program. It's so important.
Stefanik and Santerre both still running outside the top 10.
See Brian Chu there working his way around the racetrack. Again, these cars are so identical, it's hard to pass, and unless you root somebody out of the way, and really, it's not something you want to do this early in the game, but you have to be careful. If you're a lot faster, you have to work your way by.
Dave Dion did not race the last time out in this series at Motor Mile in Virginia. He really wanted to make sure he had a car ready here. His sponsors are located nearby. He's got a lot of fans here at this race tonight, and he is doing a job now, opening up some 10-12 car lengths and increasing his lead every lap over Mike Johnson.
Great run for Dave Dion. He's been around for so long, and again, he's really underfunded. I mean, his equipment is not what these guys have, so he's doing a great job here tonight.
Well, they're racing back in the pack, but those are two teammates, the 55 and the 44, Mike Stefanik and Andy Santerre, 1 and 2 in the points. Brian Chu mixing it up with him in that 99. Chu is 7th in the point standings. And Bill Penfold in that 0 car right in front of him.
Right, you get traffic here. It's so you have to be on that outside line to get through traffic, but you have to be careful. You get hung on that outside line, you could be in trouble. So you just see as Stefanik works his way around. He says, I got to go to the outside, it looks like, but hopefully the preferred line is on the bottom.
Stefanik is now in the 12th position, trying to work his way into the top 10. I think he's going to do it as he takes over Bill Penfold's spot.
Oh,
Penfold's going to turn around in the middle of turn 3, and Penfold backs his car off the racetrack, and that'll bring out our first caution of the night. Bill Penfold, there were a couple other cars who got turned around, but I don't think there's any damage. Everybody is going to be able to get straightened out and continue on. Jeff Anton in the 30, Anthony Del Monte in the 38. And caution out for the first time here tonight.
Something we were talking earlier, Mike's so nice about this racetrack. There's no walls down in the corner. As you see, drive down in the corner. It's like Andy drives to the bottom, traffic on the bottom. Whoops, got to turn right and gets in the side of Bill.
Nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go.
There was nowhere to go. Bill Penfold, who's out of Yarmouth, Maine, his first race of the season. His dad, of course, one of the real legends in stock car racing in this state, Ray Penfold.
Again, this track being so forgiving with no outside wall. If you do get turned around, believe me, as a race car driver, we love tracks with no outside walls if we can get turned around and get gathered up, because we can get back underway and possibly be in contention to win.
Well, we told you that Mike Stefanik and Andy Santerre have been stuck back in the middle of the pack the entire race. Candace, what's the story down there?
Well, Andy Santerre has no complaints yet about his car. He seems to be comfortable so far. And Mike Stefanik, so far so good for him as well. Now they're planning to hold off and kind of keep the car, hold on to the car until after they pit. They're planning on bringing him in around lap 50 or so.
All right, 150 laps make up this event. Thanks, Candace. And we'll talk about the tire rule here. They have 4 new tires that they started the race on, and then they're allowed 2 to change. And if they do get flats or in a wreck or something, that the NASCAR can approve more tire changes, but 2 are approved.
Yep. In a track like this, I tell you, if you come down pit road, you really need to do it really early in the show, because it's such a disadvantage to come in later, because you can get a lap down in a hurry. So it's a tough decision. You know, unless you're running really bad, the car's really not turning, I don't think I'd want to come down pit road.
Well, if you're wondering where our points leaders are starting now, Stefanik is 9th and Santerre is 10th. They will start beside each other now on row 5. So Stefanik and Santerre have made their way into the top 10.
Yep. You watch again. Them are crafty old veterans. Before the night's over, I'm sure you'll see both of them up there towards the top 5.
All right, we're about ready to go back. Green flag racing here at the Oxford Plains Speedway, and the Fisher Snow Plows 150. Dave Dion leads them to green. Oh, boy, there's a mess on the starter. Pole sitter Mike Johnson has turned around. Wow. Andy Santerre has turned around and spun as well in the 44 car. Caution is back out.
Wow, unfortunate. Just got log jammed there down in the corner, looked like.
Maybe no damage on those cars, but in a race where track position is everything, this is really going to hurt Santerre's efforts. And what a tough break for Mike Johnson as well. See a big donut on the side of his car. I look at Andy's car, and there is some damage on the right front to Andy Santerre's car and a big donut on the side of it.
See him drive down in the corner. Looks like Kovalek got inside of Mike Johnson there, and Mike just got turned around. Then it just gathered up, and it log piled from there, log jam. Unfortunately, nowhere to go.
And it was Mike Stefanik, his teammate, that actually turned Santerre around, but he had no choice. As you say, there was nowhere for those guys to go.
Just two cars trying to get one hole is bottom line. Unfortunate for Mike Johnson, got turned around, and you see Santerre turned around backwards there. Does have damage to the nose and radiator. I would say they're going to have to come in and pull that out. If not, he possibly may have an overheating problem. I'm sure they're looking at the water temperature gauge now. Spotters are looking from the roof with binoculars trying to figure out what to do with the 44 car.
Well, you see that some local sponsorship on the hood of that car, the Hilton Garden Inn.
Tough break for Andy. Looks like he might be making his way towards pit row. Needs to get pit row and pull that nose out. You see the front of the hood pulled down. What that does is that keeps air out of the radiator opening, and the car will overheat. They do not get that nose pulled out.
Well, keeping you up to date on the top 5. Dave Dion, Matt Kovalek, Ryan Moore, Mike Olson, and Brian Hoare after 34 of 150 laps. Again, Santerre and Stefanik had both made it up into the top 10 on that restart.
Andy Santerre pulling up to the pace car.
He's going to come down on pit road, and this is just a tough break for the points leader, but he has not had many bad breaks. Hasn't finished out of the top 10 all year. His worst finish at Lake Erie, where he finished 9th, coming off his first win of the year at Motor Mile in Virginia.
See down pit road, the crew attends to the car. They'll probably put right side tires on that car, pull that right front fender out, get that nose there, work that nose area. As you see, he pulls tape off the bottom of the grill down there to get a little air in the bottom of the grill, because they know they've lost input to the top of the grill. So they pull tape off the bottom, which does hurt the downforce of this car. So you really don't want to pull off tape unless you absolutely have to. Crew beats the hood down. The car should be okay, just as long as they get that right front fender off that tire, because if it does hit the tire, he could be in danger of cutting the tire.
Yeah, on this short track, though, there's almost no way to go in the pits and not lose a lap. I think he was able to stay on the lead lap.
Looks like he did. Great job from that crew, very experienced crew. Andy's got some of his crew that he had when he was in Charlotte, North Carolina from the Busch Series. These guys know what to do and how to do it.
So Santerre, who will have to start at the rear of the field, but he does stay on the lead lap, comes in and gets some repairs on his car after on that restart there was a mess. And that's one of the things that can happen on a double file restart when you put all the fast cars up front and together.
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, everybody's fighting for that bottom line, and all it takes is one guy to wiggle and get a little sideways, and we can't just stop these race cars. It's so hard to stop these race cars when they're up to speed, so it is unfortunate. Guy got a little sideways and took a few other guys out, victim of the circumstance, but hopefully Andy Santerre will be okay and he'll be back underway.
There's John Salemi, who is the beneficiary. We'll be back in just a moment. Well, so Salemi, the beneficiary, gets back on the lead lap as he was the first car, posted a lap down. So I think we're bunched up, about ready to go back to green again. Santerre's going to have to start way back in the field. It'll be Dion leading him to green once more.
Green.
Kovaluk alongside him. Ryan Moore is third. Mike Olson fourth. With Dale Shaw's running a great race in the 15 car.
Inside, you got to make it work out there.
Radio communications with Kovaluk telling him inside. Hung on that outside groove. Not where you want to be.
Boy, Kovaluk trying desperately to get down low, and he can't. Ryan Moore alongside him. Moore right behind Dave Dion. I think Ryan Moore wants to go to the lead.
Got to get on that bottom. He just work outside. That outside group is not that bad. I mean, it is working its way in, and unfortunately, when you get hung out there, you need to stay out there and keep racing, and these cars are still able to get around on that outside and not be but a tenth of a second slower.
21-year-old Ryan Moore in that 74 car. He's been a lot of laps here at this Oxford Plains Speedway. Moore just, we said 21, the son of Kelly, the all-time winner in this series. Makes his way up now into second place, but once again, Dave Dion, he has got great patience, great rhythm, and he is flying around this racetrack.
Dave's getting great restarts, and he's able to get right to the bottom of the racetrack, and again, that's the big advantage of being out front. When you're out front, you have control of the race, you have control of where you want to be, and it's so easy to get back in the rhythm where you do not get hung on that outside, and you do not get bumped around there on the restart. He gets back in that rhythm, and again, this is such a momentum racetrack. Rhythm, momentum, that's what's able to keep Dave out front.
Dave Dion, 13th in the point standings. Got, as we said, his first North Series win here at this racetrack. This season, his best finishes have been at Holland and at Lake Erie. He was fourth at Holland Speedway in New York and fifth at Lake Erie.
See a battle for third place, Mike Olson, Matt Kovaluk. Matt having a little bit of damage on the right front fender of that car. I believe he got into somebody earlier, but it doesn't. I don't believe it's going to affect the handling of the race car. You see the right front fender caved in, pushed in the inside, but it's not touching the tire. So lucky for Matt, he'll be okay.
Mike Olson's another guy that really wants a good run here. Olson, who was the runner-up in points a year ago, now fifth in the point standings, and he gets real high, and Kovaluk gets underneath him.
Wow, you see Olson cut right back down. That's what you need to do here at this racetrack. You've got to get back down in the bottom, and that was the right thing to do for Olson. He knows that he needs to stay on the bottom, and he did the right thing. If not, he would have got hung out to dry and went to the back.
I'll tell you, a car that is on the move back in the pack is Eddie McDonald in the 77.
Well, we talked about it. He had to change the motor there. He was very fast in practice, but, unfortunately, he didn't get the motor change done before qualifying. He's currently moving his way through the field. He's doing a great job here tonight.
Yeah, Eddie McDonald is moved from 29th all the way up to 9th spot now. Made his way into the top 10. Got past Dale Shaw, who's dropped back a few spots. And you see Mike Stefanik, who's in 8th, right ahead of him.
See the nose of Dale Shaw's car bashed in, the bumper bashed in. I think all these cars will have a little body damage before the night's over, except Dave Dion to keep that car out front.
See that 5 car with that yellow stripe on the bumper signifying his rookie status? There he is. That is Sean Case. We talked about him at the beginning of the show. He's only 19 years old. Out of Pelham, New Hampshire, he's having a great season. He's shown a lot of talent this year on this series. And right now, he's holding off Mike Stefanik, one of the really great drivers in North Series history.
A lot of patience in that young man. Again, this racetrack, this is one of the harder racetracks that we come to because it's momentum and rhythm. As a rookie and as a new race car driver, that's the hardest thing that you take to get used to. It's easy to bull a race car and really drive a race car really hard, and you reap the rewards by going faster. But this racetrack here, if you actually try to drive too hard and if you drive too fast, you actually will back up. So you have to really use rhythm here. You have to concentrate, and he's doing a great job here tonight.
That is the battle for 7th place. Case is in 7th, Stefanik 8th.
Mike Stefanik.
And yellow is out. Caution is out on the racetrack. One car is backed around. It is
Lane
the
Chase.
2 car of Lane Chase. Joe Massessa also turns his car around. And caution is out.
See the little left rear damage of that. Sticking out there like a porpoise.
So far tonight, Dan, nobody has anything for 61-year-old Dave Dion.
Not so far. I tell you, he's doing a great job, and his car looks so good. It looks, actually, the setup on that race car is a lot softer than some of these cars, and that's a good thing. And what that does to a race car when you have a softer setup versus a stiffer setup, it's a lot easier on the tires. But when you go through the corner, it actually lays over and it leans sideways. You have to get used to that. Dave said I've been sideways, I've been upside down, I've been straight. He says, I can go any way they give it to me. He says, but the soft setup's really working good for me here today.
Now, what's amazing about Dave Dion tonight is that he got in an accident at Stafford where he really got that car torn up. And they build all their cars themselves. Like we said, that car was built in 1990, if you can believe that.
Yep.
1990. But they have really worked to get that car put back together for this race. They missed the last race in Virginia at Motor Mile, but they got it ready to go. And what a job that his crew has done getting that car put back together.
Can't say enough for Dave Dion. This car is a rear steer car. What that means, folks, is it's a car that we ran in the Winston Cup Series some 15 years ago. It's ancient. It's antiquated. People don't like rear steer cars. But Dave Dion has found a way to get the rear steer car to work. So he's done a great job, and really doesn't have a very big budget. So you can't say enough about it.
Oh, here come a number of cars down on pit road, led by Kelly Moore. Andy Santerre is in, Brian Hoare, Mike Stefanik, Brian Chu, and Mike Johnson, a pole sitter, all coming down onto the pit lane. And again, cars allowed to change 2 tires. Candace called it. Candace Kruger told us a lot of these cars will be coming in sometime after lap 50. We're on lap 57 right now, so under 100 laps to go in this race.
What you're seeing is these guys here are guys that's got problems. There's no reason to come down pit road here tonight. The tires should go the distance. We've got plenty of fuel. These guys have got handling problems, and they've made the decision to get in the pits, get the car fixed early, get back out, and then be in contention. It's a smart move for them early in the night to get in and take tires or do whatever they have to do to make their car handle better. There you see Mike Stefanik in and out of the pits. Obviously was not happy with the handling of that race car. Back underway. Mike Johnson behind him, pole sitter, back underway. So these guys did have problems there earlier, but they're back. They came in, made adjustments, smart move. They put a lot of adjustability into these race cars. And what I mean by when I say that is they put rubbers in the springs of these race cars so they can pull the spring rubbers out to make adjustments because it takes way too long to change a spring in one of these cars. They also make tire pressure adjustments and other adjustments to make these cars handle differently.
Well, hopefully some of these guys who weren't handling well, Brad Layton among them, things straighten out just a little bit. Ryan Seaman among those on the pit lane. Candace Kruger, we saw a number of our top runners come down on the pit lane. What's the story down there?
Well, I'm here with Mike Stefanik's crew chief, Jerry Babb. Now, Jerry, tell us what all you did to the car when you brought him in.
Well, right now it's very hard to pass out there. We're hoping everybody else that didn't pit will have to pit behind us and we'll gain our track position there. We loosen the car up. The car feels fairly neutral. It's just very, very difficult to pass. The outside group just is not very friendly right now to these Busch cars.
Now, you've had a lot of experience at this racetrack. This is actually your home track. What are the keys to win here?
Well, when I won my championship and won some races back here, it was the old pavement. The new pavement has made the outside groove very treacherous. The bottom is so much better than the outside. You can pass cars here. You just got to be extremely careful. Basically staying out of trouble. Patience, patience, patience was what works here.
Thanks, Jerry.
Hey, Candace.
Yes.
Ask Jerry what the heck that thing is on his helmet.
Mike would like to know what's on your helmet.
Well, after time trials, we had a little bad luck with an early draw, so my future sister-in-law found a lizard. She always gives me a good luck charm every time I see her. So this is our lucky lizard, Zippy. So, you know, Zippadelli gets Tony to the front. Hopefully Zippy will get the Burnham car to the front.
I hope Zippy works for you tonight.
Hey, Candace, thanks a lot. Well, we'll see what the lizard can do tonight as we are back under green here at Oxford Plains Speedway. And Ryan Moore with a great restart on the outside in that 74 car. Mike Olson right behind him. He and Dave Dion have a great battle into turn 1.
You hear Ryan's crew chief telling him inside, still there. He wants that inside so bad he's taking it. But he has to be patient.
Boy, that's got this crowd enthused a little bit. There are a lot of Ryan Moore fans who are here in Oxford, Maine tonight. Boy, Dion's not giving any ground, is he?
Nope. He's got that bottom line, and he's been in charge here all night. He says, guys, if you want this bottom groove, you're going to have to knock me out of the way. And I'm sure as the race goes on, when we wind down towards get time, you might see a little more bumping and grinding, but they're being patient, being a little early. You see Eddie McDonald on the outside there, got a little loose, but luckily he gathered it up. Great car Eddie McDonald has. He's come from the back. He's running the top 10 right now.
Well, they changed the motor, and that motor they changed to is working pretty darn good. My goodness, Dave Dion is impressive tonight. And as we've told you, completely rebuilding that car after corrected Stafford and taking the last race off in order to be strong here tonight and finish out the season on a good note. I think you talk about patience. We heard Jerry Babb tell Candace Kruger a moment ago, the whole key in this race is patience, patience, patience. And I think young Ryan Moore is trying to exercise some patience right now in that 74 car.
It's so important. Oh.
No caution out. We did have a car turn around. That is Brad Layton in the 25. Layton has not had the handle on that car all night long and just lost it. Which I think sometimes when you try too hard, it's easy to do here.
Wow, you see Mike Stefanik get turned around, just drove in the outside there, got a little loose. It's too bad for Mike Stefanik.
Wow, maybe he was trying a little bit too hard. Stefanik turns it around, and he's not having the night he wanted.
Green flag stays out, no caution. Again, not what Mike wanted to see. He's got right front fender damage to the 55 car. He may have to come in and get that fender pulled out. You see Dave Dion still staying strong and flexing that muscle, but you see Ryan Moore right on his tail.
Well, let's see if we can see what happened to Mike Stefanik. Tried to cut down on the rookie, Sean Case.
Yep, nowhere to go. Maybe not knowing that he was there. You never know. I mean, spotter may not have called it, and he really didn't know he was on the inside.
Well, you saw I think one of the advantages to a short track like this, there's no fence in 1 and 2. There's no fence in 3 and 4. You get turned around and get off the track. You don't back it into the wall.
Oh, it's a great
You
thing.
just put it in gear and get going again.
Let me tell you, at the end of the night, it's a lot cheaper as a race car owner. You don't have to go and fix that car. You may have to bang on a few fenders, but at least you can bring it home in one piece.
Single file now, the top 5. Dave Dion, who has led a good portion of this race, started out in the 3rd position.
Dion appears that he may have lost a little speed on the racetrack since that caution. His car may have fallen off a little bit because these guys are really staying with him. There's single file freight train here, and you know, it's not really what he wanted to see. I think once Ryan gets by him, he may head to the front. See Andy Santerre working his way back through the field behind Bill Penfold.
Bill Penfold kind of holding Santerre up a little bit. And you got to wonder how the handle is on Santerre's car now after he had that right front damage. It got knocked around a little bit. They really chased that car in practice today, too.
They did. He wasn't happy with it. I talked to him. He said, Dan, we ran on old tires, but I feel good about it. He says, you know, once we put some good sticker tires on it, make a few runs, they made a qualifying run, and it wasn't quite what he really thought it was going to be. So I think that car's not quite to his liking.
Bill Penfold showing a little strength here.
Well, Andy's got to get around him on the bottom of the racetrack. Andy's, you know, trying hard. He needs to get around Bill Penfold, but unfortunately, it's going to be tough to do on that outside line. See, he falls back to the bottom, looks to the bottom side behind Penfold. He knows he has to drive underneath him. Being a gentleman driver that he is, he's taking his time. But it's time to go because he's losing the leaders.
Well, Dave Dion. You know, and I think you can make the 150 laps without stopping, obviously.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
If you're Dave Dion, there's no real reason to stop as we approach lap 80 now. And he has started again to put a little distance upon himself and young Ryan Moore. Matt Kovaluk 3rd.
Yes, he is. Again, with a softer spring setup, the tires do not get near as hot as they would with a stiffer spring setup. You can see that car just rolls over down there in the corner. See it kind of roll over to the right side really bad. He likes the car that way, and he drives it that way. And he says it really doesn't bother me. But some drivers do not like to drive a car when it lays right over. But it's so much easier on the tires. And in the long run, it shows here. These other cars, the tires may heat up a little bit. With Dave's car having a little softer setup, he keeps the speed, was able to keep the car going in the longer run. That's what it's about.
Andy Santerre still trying to get by Bill Penfold, and that'd be the battle for 10th place. Santerre trying to make his way in the top 10 as you look at Ryan Moore. Dave Dion has already clinched 10 bonus points, has led over half of the race.
Candace, what's going on down there in the Dion pits?
Well, guys, I just got a quick word with a member of Dion's crew, and they apparently are not planning to bring him in at this juncture. That may change, but at this point, they are not planning on pitting.
Well, it's just what we suspected, Dan, and running out front, really no reason to come in. And while those tires fall off, these new tires that they have this year for this series, they'll pretty much stay where they are from now to the end of the race.
They are. They made a major change in these tires this year. It's still a bias ply, but they've stiffened the sidewall tremendously. If you remember earlier in the season, a lot of these teams really struggled with this tire. But NASCAR said, guys, once you get the tire figured out, once you know what spring setup it likes, it'll last a lot longer, it'll be much more economical, and for the long run, it'll be there. A lot of these teams now that I talked to 3 or 4 or 5 races ago have said, yeah, we're a lot more comfortable with these tires now than we were before, and we're glad that we made the change.
Becoming strung out between the top runners now, but back 5th, 6th, and 7th. Oh, there's a battle going on. That's Kelly Moore in the 47, Dale Shaw in the 15, the rookie Sean Case in the 5, and then lurking behind them, Bill Penfold, Andy Santerre and company. Dale Shaw, former champion in this series, had a top 10 run at the Motor Mile last time out. He was the 94 series champion.
Dale's car a little battered from real early in the race, but things have spread out, and I'm sure he feels better about it now. The car seems to be handling well. It looks just like a little bit of body damage.
This is the first time that Dale has driven a car in this series that hadn't come out of his own shop. And they are just now starting to get things together, and it's showing, coming off a top 10 run and having another strong run here tonight. He's 4th all time in wins in this series. There's a car's turned around. It's Jeff Anton in the 30. Anton, a protege of Dale Cordelin.
Oh, Kelly Moore gets turned around and backs into it. Oh, man. Not what we wanted to see here. Unfortunate.
And there's a lot of damage on the 47. Kelly Moore, who has not driven many races this year.
Wow, that's too bad.
Driving tonight to in front of a lot of home fans here at this track.
25 car's going to pit. Is he still ahead of him on the racetrack or not? Yeah, he's in front of us. So we have to wait for him then. We're going to wait. We're going to work on getting that spoiler back up, guys.
Wow, you see the bumper tore off that car. I don't know. See the spoiler laid back? He's not in real good shape. I mean, they can pull that bumper piece off. That doesn't do a whole lot, but the rear spoiler, it makes a big difference, and unfortunate for Kelly Moore. It's not going to be a good night for him.
Boy, Kelly Moore was just turned around, and unfortunately, Jeff Anton was sitting right there on the racetrack.
Wow. That wreck happened so fast. He just got turned around instantly, and nobody really got a chance to really get slowed down. And unfortunately, on a 3/8 mile, there's not much you can do.
And also our pole sitter, Mike Johnson, had some damage. He's down on the pit lane, too. His crew's working on his car.
Wow.
So a couple of guys with high hopes tonight.
Here's another look.
Dashed here.
See the 15 car. Shaw dived to the outside, but Kelly had nowhere to go.
That's Eddie McDonald, who's been having a great run in the 77, and Bill Penfold in the 0, and you saw Johnson there as well.
See him back in. There's just nothing you can do as a driver. You just hold on the steering wheel, lock down on the brake pedal when you get turned around. You see Andy Santerre. Good move by Andy to the outside.
Mike Johnson's in that red car in the middle, and look at the damage on the 96 car on the left front.
Wow.
And there you see it for real. Mike Johnson, who sat on the pole here, thought he had a great chance to win, said this track reminds him so much of Beech Ridge, a place where he's had a couple of victories, and felt he really had the setup in the car to win here tonight. And there is Eddie McDonald. His team changed the motor just before the race. They felt great. He had made a run all the way up from the back towards the front of the field.
Eddie doing a tremendous job here tonight to come from the back of the pack here on a short track, as tough as this racetrack is, and then work his way into the top 10 and then have this happen. That's has to be devastating to that team, but need not hang his head. He had a great run.
Well, the story of this race so far has been Dave Dion, 92 laps into the Fisher Snowplows 150. Welcome back to the Fisher Snowplows 150 at Oxford Plains Speedway. And not much happening right now because we're under a red flag for an accident that happened after Jeff Anton spun.
Kelly Moore hit him. Mike Johnson got involved. Eddie McDonald, several others. Here's some things that have happened earlier tonight. Bill Penfold on his home track goes spinning off the course early. Mike Johnson's had several spins tonight after starting on the pole. And then here goes Mike Stefanik. A little bit of damage to that 55 car. And here's what we were just talking about, the reason for the red flag. Jeff Anton in that yellow 30 car just got plowed right there in the middle of the track.
Nowhere to go.
Engines have fired up.
Ryan Moore, Dan Partis, Mike Hogwood in the booth. You copy? Copy. Hey, buddy, look like you way up towards. You got anything there for Dave? For Dave?
One of the reasons that they are doubling up right now is we're not getting close to 1 to go, but they're trying to get the speedy dry off of the racetrack, which is still pretty much caked down in the middle of turns 1 and 2.
Ah, you're right. As you see it blowing up off the racetrack, and that's another thing you have to deal with as a race car driver. It's not very there's not much confidence in knowing you have to drive down in a corner at 100 miles an hour plus, and you know that there's speedy dry on the racetrack. It's slick, so it's just another thing that works on your mind.
You'll see it right here. If we can just kind of pan around to turn 1 and 2, you will see exactly what we're talking about. There it is. There's that speedy dry. You can see right there where it is that they're trying to get off the racetrack, and that's what those cars are trying to do, and the reason that they're bunched up right now in double file. There's some more of it. Trying to blow it off the racetrack so they'll be able to go green.
Yeah, and what's so hard about it is it's not only on the bottom of the racetrack, it's in the second groove too. So the problem is the guy on the bottom slides up, he hits the guy on the outside, then we have a big wreck. So these guys have to go hard. Ryan Moore needs to get to the bottom of the racetrack. He's hoping Dave Dion will give a little bit when he drives down in the corner, maybe afraid of that speedy dry. Dave's not afraid of nothing, so he's not going to be afraid of that speedy dry.
You just saw it there a moment ago. Great camera work right there in the middle of your screen. That white stuff, that is the speedy dry. We do understand now that we are going to go green here in just a couple of laps. These laps do count. We're on lap 104 now. 150 make up this race, so we are getting down to it, Dan Partis.
Yes, we are.
You heard Matt Kovaluk say, 20 or 30 to go. He's going to get in a different mindset, and I think a lot of these drivers will get in a different mindset. Next time by at the line, there will be 1 to go, and I think this crowd is ready. I know we are to go back racing. We were under red flag conditions after that accident in turn 2. It has been all cleaned up.
Mindset is exactly right, but what we have to be careful of is not to overdrive these race cars in the next 20 to 30 laps, because we still got some 40-something laps plus, so we do not want to use the tires up. So it's a catch-22. Again, that guy on the outside, he has to drive hard because he needs that bottom line.
Now remember the key on the restart. Cars on the inside have an advantage. Ryan Moore is in second place. You see him there on the left of your screen in that black 74. He's not in an optimum place on this racetrack. The restart is going to be critical. And we are ready to go back under green at Oxford Plain. What a restart by Dave Dion.
Big jump by Dave Dion. Ryan Moore did not want to see that. He wanted to fall in single file. He drives down to the bottom. He gets to the bottom. That's where he wants to be, in front of Matt Kovaluk.
He did get in line. It is Mike Olson that's hung up there on the outside, right beside Kovaluk in the 61. Lane Chase goes spinning. Yellow's back out.
Oh, not what they wanted to see. That was a good restart.
Look at that speedy dry kicking up, though, in the middle of 1 and 2. Boy, they really You talk about blowing it up a little bit. They did. There's Lane Chase in that 2-car. 40-year-old driver out of Beverly, Mass. We're under caution at the Oxford Plains Speedway. You're watching NASCAR Grand National North Series racing on Speed. There is Dale Shaw. We told you he had some damage. Some big-time damage on the front end of that car. And you know what? He has been running such a great race tonight. He's going to have to come in. But just when it looked like Dale Shaw and that team were starting to get things together, they're coming off a top 10 run in Virginia.
Tough break for
yeah, right. Tough break tonight.
PG Environmental car, they come in. They're going to have to probably cut away that front bumper section because it looks pretty used up, and you do not want it to fall off and get under that right front tire.
He has won twice here in this North Series. He won here in 1987, 1989, finished second here in 1991, but doesn't look like a top 5 finish is in the cards for him here tonight, Dale Shaw.
Now they're going to need some major duct tape on that car because that front bumper piece will blow off up to speed.
And while we're under caution, Dan, only 40 laps now remain. And Mike Johnson, your pulse here, look at the left front of that car.
Yeah, we talked earlier, they just cut the whole fender off that car just to get him back underway. Mike Johnson, Johnson Lumber Car, family business. Mike works all week in the shop, does a lot of different duties around the shop. They've owned a lumber business here in Massachusetts through the years. You see they go to the left front of that car. They're probably tying the brake ducts back because they're probably rubbing the tire, which is not good when he gets down in the corner, and that could cut a tire. So they're probably wiring them brake ducts back out of the way.
And Mike Johnson thought he really had a great shot to win. He won the showdown at the end of the year last year between the North Series and the West Series. That's the biggest moment of his career, and still looking for his first win of the season. Get ready to go back to green. We'll see if Dave Dion can get another great start on Ryan Moore. This time Ryan Moore gets a much better restart. They are side by side on the backstretch.
That's what he wants to see, but he wants to get down on that bottom side. He really does not have what it takes on the starts to get around Dave Dion. Dave is so good on these restarts.
Kovaluk tucks in right behind Dion. There is nowhere for Ryan Moore to go to get down on the racetrack. And Moore, because of that, is probably going to be kicked to third. He is.
Yeah, he gets up high, but he does get the race car down in front of Mike Olson. He gets back underway. He needs to get single file and kick his way back through the field as the laps count down. See the 99 car, Brian Chu on the outside also, not where he wants to be.
I'll tell you a guy who has quietly run a great race is rookie Sean Case, now posted in the 5th position behind Mike Olson.
Sean's done a great job. We talked about him earlier. He needs to just fall in line. You see him back behind Mike Olson back there. You can barely see the nose, but there he is. Ryan Hoare looking the backside of him, but he's done really well. He knows he needs to stay to the bottom, and that's exactly what he's done here all night.
He's in 5th. Hoare is in 6th place. Sean Case, the rookie out of New Hampshire. And Dave Dion, who has led most of this race, now tries to hold off Matt Kovaluk. Kovaluk with 3 wins this series, more than any other driver.
Kovaluk looks good. He really looks good early in the run, but, you know, history showed us here tonight that as the laps count down, Dave Dion gets better, but Dave just needs 5 or 10 more laps.
Did you see that? Matt Kovaluk said a little hello there to Dave Dion on his bumper.
He did it in gentlemanly manner because really he could have got up underneath him and spun him out, but Kovaluk did what he needed to do just to let him know he's back there.
We'll be back from the Oxford Plains Speedway with more NASCAR Grand National North Series racing in just a moment. Dan, when I was talking to Dave Dion today, he said running this race successful, it is all about rhythm. What's he talking about?
Well, it's rhythm. It's gas, steering wheel, brake pedal. Right through here is when you drive down in the corner, come off the corner, you have to step on the gas. You do not want to spin the rear tires. We talked about it as race car drivers as putting an egg between your foot and the gas pedal, and don't break the egg as you get back down on the gas. If you push the gas pedal down too hard, it spins the rear tires, it heats them up, then you'll continue to get loose off the corner. And when you drive down in the corner, you do the same thing with the steering wheel and the brake pedal and the gas. It's being smooth, but you have to get rhythm, and rhythm is what it takes to get around this place.
And he's had rhythm all night long. All night long.
He got the rhythm. I don't have to do it right.
No.
You got some rhythm?
No, and I'm not going to play it either.
I used to have some rhythm. Then I went to race car driving.
You got good rhythm as an announcer, though.
Well,
there's your top 5 right now. We were talking about Dave Dion, Matt Kovaluk, Ryan Moore, Olson, and Case. And Sean Case, the rookie, looking for a top 5 finish. It would be his first top 5 of the season.
Great run for him. You could throw a blanket over these top 5 guys, but I tell you, Dave Dion's very smart. He knows what it takes. He may just be baiting these guys just enough, just so that he can say, you know, let them get close enough to me so that they think that they can get to me. Let them heat their tires up, and then the last 10 laps, I'll make like a jackrabbit and run. Dave Dion's been around a long time. He's a cagey veteran, and I think that's exactly what he's doing, in my opinion.
You know, as we come down the closing stages of this race, you may wonder about the points leaders. Both of them have had their tough nights. There is Mike Stefanik and Andy Santerre. They're trying to get by Kip Stockwell.
Got the back of Kip, but it's time to go.
They're 9th and 10th right now.
He says, I looked to the inside, now I'm going to the outside. You better let me around. But Andy looks to the bottom, so this gets very frustrating.
Kip Stockwell out of Braintree, Vermont in that 16 car, not letting them by.
Mike Stefanik said, I got to go. Now it's time to do it. We got 30 laps left. If I'm going to go, I have to do it right now.
And he's going to do it on the outside. So is Andy Santerre.
Santerre follows his way around. When he makes a hole, when the guy makes a hole, you usually try to follow it. Usually that way you know the guy that you're passing knows where you're at and you're working that outside. But Kip Stockwell's making it real hard for these guys to get around him.
Stefanik now in 7th place. Santerre 8th, Brian Chu 9th, and Mike Olson back at 10th.
Man, they're having a hard time around Stockwell. Stockwell's got a good car. He's able to keep it on the bottom. So, you know, he's really doing nothing wrong. As long as he stays on the bottom of the racetrack, the guys are going to have to work around him.
I just want to send some best wishes and get well wishes to his granddad, Stub Fadden, who was such a great, great racer in this neck of the woods up here in New England. Santerre having a tough time getting around him, that's for sure. And Dave Dion, meanwhile, just out for a Saturday night drive.
There's Dion working around Mike Johnson, and he had a little bit of trouble there for a lap, and it did hold him up. Not what he really wanted to see. He needs to get around Johnson and get back underway, because as he has a hard time getting around Johnson, Kovaluk reels him in.
You know, I like what Mike Johnson did then. He got the move over flag, but he was already moving down low. He realizes he's not going to be a part of this equation.
Mike's a good racer. He knows what it takes to win, and he knows he really don't have the race car to win here tonight. So again, like you said, he did lift out the gas pedal and give him a little slack. Oh, the 5-car around.
That is Sean Case, who was just running in the top 5 on his way to a great finish. And boy, this track can jump up and bite you quick, and it just did to the 19-year-old rookie, Sean Case.
It sure will. You know, some real heartbreakers here tonight. Man, these guys have been running so good up there in the top 10, and they get spun around, unfortunate. But it's just short track racing. That's what happens on these short tracks. We run door to door, and when you get on racetracks like this where they only have one groove, everybody wants that same groove. You get a little bump, and you get out of shape.
I don't think there's any damage on Case's car. Not a whole lot. You see some damage from some previous accidents.
Tail end of that wreck, as you see, that's Kelly Moore, it looks like. Spins around. Maybe somebody got in the back of him again. That's twice tonight he got turned around.
Yeah, he's going to be dizzy at the end of this night.
Yep. Sean doing a great job getting the car back in gear and driving back up the racetrack. He did exactly the right thing. If he had rolled down to the bottom, he'd have got collected by another car. So good job by Sean. He has nothing to hang his head about. He had a great run here tonight, and I'm sure he'll have some really good runs here in the future in the Busch North Series.
Wayne Chase, by the way, had been black flagged a moment ago. He has come down on pit road and since left. Brad Layton is down for an extended stay. There's Case, who is now at the tail end of the lead lap. He is right in front of Dave Dion, but he is at the tail end now, and that moves Brian Hoare into the top 5.
Wow, 13 laps to go. Again, Dion did not want to see this because his car is really good on that long run. This is exactly what Matt Kovaluk and Ryan Moore and Mike Olson wanted to see. They wanted to see another caution. Then it'll be a shootout here at the end, but not what they wanted to see. His car is so good on the long run.
Well, Sean Case is in, and his crew is going to go to the right side and change tires after that spin.
They'll get another tire on that right front, get that fender pulled out, keep it off the tire so you don't blow a tire, and hopefully he'll be able to stay on the lead lap and still have a decent finish here tonight. A1 landscaping car. Sean, like I say, doing a great job.
Sean Case, this is his first year, obviously, in this series, but he ran some modified races last year on the modified tour. Won the pole and led the early laps in the last race of the Motor Mile. We'll be hearing a lot from Sean Case, and he's only 19 years old, so he'll learn from that spin and move on.
It's good. It's part of the Barney McRae team. Is that right, Mike? I know he was affiliated with Barney McRae, and Barney said we got a young kid, a driver that wants to be part of our operation. I think Barney's kind of held the helm there and kind of helped him out. Yeah,
Barney McRae, and they've made quite a team, Barney McRae and Sean Case this year. There's Kelly Moore, who has had a tough night, has gotten hit from all sides back down on pit road.
We'll be back in just a moment.
Now 10 laps to go, 10 laps remain, and it's going to be a shootout. Ryan Moore, Dave Dion, Matt Kobaluk, and now, Dan, it's going to be Matt Kobaluk who has to start on the outside.
Yep, not where he wants to be. Matt does not want to be out. This is what Ryan Moore wanted to see. So, hey, it was reversed there earlier tonight, so now he's getting it right back. But Dave Dion, he's right where he wants to be.
Green flag is back out. 9 laps remain.
And Kobaluk staying right with Dion.
Wow, Kobaluk hanging hard, tough on that outside.
Ryan Moore trying to get into the mix. Mike Olson has jumped up and gotten in the mix too. So have Stefanik and Santerre. Lo and behold, they are there at the end of the race.
Dave Dion, he has to be focused this last few laps of this race. He has to be consistent. He has to pick that rhythm back up, and that's exactly what he's done. He's able to get back in the rhythm immediately, keep the car on the bottom. You see Kobaluk drive right to the outside, but when they drive down to the corner, the outside's not where you want to be. Dave Dion knows what it takes to win this race.
You want to know why Andy Santerre wins championships? After all he's been through tonight, here we are in the closing laps, and he's up to 6th place.
Andy, again, looks at the big picture. That's what he's here to race for. Man, look at these guys. Top 6 cars you can throw a blanket over.
And now Dave Dion out in front. Ryan Moore right behind him. Kobaluk still hung up on the outside. He cannot get down low.
Kobaluk, Mike Olson working that outside groove really hard, but they have no choice. They have to believe that car's going to stick, but it is a looser race car out there. You cannot get in the gas like you can when you're on the bottom of the racetrack, and that's where he loses ground. Right on the outside of that racetrack, coming off the corner right there, he'll lose a few feet every time.
Well, I tell you what, Dave Dion knew how to set that car up tonight. They were fast after they unloaded off the truck.
They were, and again, he's got a soft setup in that car, and it really showed that that's what you need here tonight at Oxford Plains to win races. And he has done a tremendous job. He's concentrated. He's worked his way all the way around this racetrack every single lap.
Don't look now, but Andy Santerre has just made his way to the top 5. You see him there. He is now running 5th. Santerre got turned around a couple of times, had some damage on that car, and to come in and get it banged out.
2 laps to go. Wow.
Will this be a win for 61-year-old Dave Dion? He's led almost the entire night.
See Ryan Moore looking to the inside, Mike, as they drive down in the corner.
White flag is out. Final lap. Can Dave Dion hold off the young gun, Ryan Moore?
See Kobaluk put his bumper right underneath the back of Ryan Moore. He wants a round 2. They know they need to get on the bottom to do it.
One more turn for Dave Dion. He's going to do it. Dave Dion, 61 years young, has won the Fisher Snowplows 150. What a run tonight for Dave Dion. His 13th career win in this Busch Grand National North Series. His first win since 2001. This, a return to this racetrack, and this is where Dave Dion got his first win ever. He's had a couple of wins in that Oxford 250 here. Loves this racetrack. It showed here tonight. Candace, I wonder if that brother's going to show a little emotion now, huh?
Roger, tell us what this victory means to you and your team.
Well, Kyle was totaled 3 weeks ago by a guy that tried to kill him. We had to prove that we could come back and show him that we could still win. He had a winning car then, and they think that he's too old or whatever, but he's the man.
He certainly is tonight.
Yes, he did. He did a fantastic job of driving. Just shows an experience, perseverance, and just some good knowledge and an old philosophy. Yes! Yes!
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, Candace, Roger showed a little emotion there. That was great.
Man,
he is excited.
That couldn't have happened to a better guy, Mike. I tell you, Dave Dion deserves this win. Again, he works with equipment that's not near what some of these other teams have. He's underfunded. They work on the car themselves, him and his brothers. Tremendous victory for him tonight. Hats off to Dave Dion.
Wow, how exciting is that? And you know, and they talk so much in all these series about the young guns, about this is a sport for the 19, 20, 21-year-olds. Well, Dave Dion just made a statement. 61 years young, and he beat them all tonight. Held them all off.
He really did, and he deserves that win. You know, but he's been here a couple times. He's been that close through the course of the year. He should have been in victory lane a couple times this year, and tonight he was able to put it all together. So happy for Dave.
Wanted to see him unbuckling there, and can't wait to hear from him when he climbs out of that race car.
Again, guys, this is the car that won here in 1992. That last NASCAR Busch North race we had here, Dave Dion won in that very car. So they've reunited themselves some 13 years later. That's quite a mission.
That car has been through it. Remember the repairs they had to make to that car after the wreck at Stafford. A really serious accident. That car was torn all to heck. There's Roger and Dion, the two brothers, celebrating. Dave taking off his helmet, and we'll be back to talk with him and join in the celebration at Victory Lane as Dave Dion has won the Fisher Snow Plows 150 here at Oxford Plains Speedway. We're back to talk to a happy winner in just a moment. Dave Dion with his 13th career win here at Oxford Plains Speedway. Ryan Moore, Matt Kobaluk. Look at Andy Santerre, 5th place.
Well, I tell you, he's got to be happy. It's like a victory for Andy tonight. He dodged a lot of bullets, got a tore-up race car, but he's able to finish in the top 5.
But the story is Dave Dion, and Candace Kruger is down in victory lane.
I sure am, with a very excited Dave Dion. Now, Dave, you said this victory has been a long time coming, and you certainly made it look easy out there tonight.
Yeah, the last win was, well, 2001, just before 9/11. It was a week before my family was up. My grandson went to his first race. I thought it would be the greatest victory of my life, obviously with my family and everything. But after this long, hard 4 years and wiping this car out at Stafford a couple of weeks ago, God, my brothers, they just went back to work on it. I was ready to hang it up. I just figured either it's the old guy that's the problem or something, or the old car. But I guess both of us worked pretty good tonight.
I think so. I don't think anybody's going to be hanging anything up right now.
It really went great. I'd like to dedicate it to a few friends I've lost since my last win. My brother Pat with Racing with Jesus Ministry, and my real good friend John, who passed away. A lot of people my age. I just want to dedicate it to them and just thank my crew. Thank my brothers. We've been together for 42 years, and we fight a lot. But, boy, they give me a race car.
No fighting tonight, right, Dave?
No fighting tonight, no.
Not a nicer guy here. And I hope when I'm 61 that I have half the energy that Dave Dion
Me
does.
too. Emotional finish for Dave. Great night for him.
Once again, the winner from Oxford Plains Speedway in a night that was full of action was Dave Dion. And boy, we got our money's worth here tonight. Pole sitter Mike Johnson had such high hopes in that 96. Mike Stefanik recovered from that spin to finish strong. Kelly Moore, son of Ryan, a legend here, had a tough night, as did many others. But again, the story was Dave Dion. So for Candace Kruger and my partner here in the booth, Dan Pardis, I'm Mike Hogwood. We'll say so long now from the Oxford Plains Speedway in Oxford, Maine. Good night, everybody.